Have you noticed how uncomfortable it feels when a room goes quiet? Not dramatic, quiet, just normal silence. The kind that slips in during an elevator ride, a long drive, or when someone stops texting back. You shift your weight. You glance at your phone. You feel a subtle urge to do something, anything, even when nothing is wrong. Most of us react before we think. We feel it in the body first, a tightening in the chest, a restless energy in the hands, a quiet pressure to fill the space before it fills us. And we rarely question it. But the discomfort stays familiar, like a background hum you only notice when it suddenly disappears. And the strange part is not that silence feels awkward. It is that it feels personal, as if the quiet itself is evaluating you, watching, waiting, as if you were suddenly on display without having agreed to be. There is a reason this reaction appears so fast. And once you see it clearly, it starts to change how you understand your own behavior. I began noticing this when I caught myself speaking, just to avoid a pause. Not because I had something meaningful to add, just because the silence felt heavier than the words I could offer. I told myself I was being friendly, or helpful, or socially aware, but that explanation felt thin. The truth felt more intimate. Silence made me feel exposed. Like the moment it arrived, something about me became visible without my consent. I was no longer performing. I was just there, and that felt risky in a way I had never named. Think about a group conversation that suddenly stops. No conflict, no awkward comment, nothing obvious. Yet almost immediately, someone steps in to rescue the moment. A laugh that comes a little too fast. A random observation that leads nowhere. A safe remark that buys time. It is rarely about connection. It is about relief. Psychology reveals that our minds are constantly scanning for subtle signals about belonging and safety. Tone of voice, facial reactions, timing. Silence removes all of that at once. No feedback, no confirmation, just space. And the brain does not trust empty space. Researchers suggest that when information drops out, the mind rushes to replace it. Silence feels like missing data, and missing data creates tension. Your thoughts start generating explanations before you even realize it. Did I say too much? Did I say too little? Are they bored? Are they judging me? Am I supposed to respond now? The quiet becomes a mirror. And mirrors are uncomfortable when you are not sure how you look or what you are supposed to see. Most people think silence is simply the absence of sound, but emotionally, it behaves more like a question hanging in the air. A question without words. And unanswered questions are hard for the brain to tolerate, especially when the question feels like it might be about your value, your place, or your role in that moment. I used to believe I was comfortable being alone with my thoughts, but then I started noticing how rarely I actually was. Music while cooking, a video playing while scrolling, a podcast during a walk that could have been quiet. Not because I needed stimulation, because silence felt too close, too revealing. That realization unsettled me more than the silence itself. It suggested that I was avoiding something vague but persistent, something that only appeared when nothing else was competing for attention. Silence does not distract you, it removes distraction. When external noise fades, internal noise takes its place. Old worries surface, unfinished conversations replay, random memories drift in without warning. The mind fills the quiet quickly, often with things you did not invite. Suddenly, the silence feels crowded, and the instinct is to escape it again, as if you have stepped into a room you were not ready to enter. This is where cognitive patterns quietly guide behavior. The brain prefers continuity. Sound signals movement. Conversation signals connection. Silence interrupts that flow. It removes the structure we lean on without realizing it. And when structure disappears, attention turns inward. That inward turn can feel like losing balance, like standing without something to hold on to. Have you noticed how silence feels different depending on who you are with? Peaceful with one person, heavy with another. That difference has little to do with sound. It has everything to do with emotional safety. Silence amplifies whatever dynamic already exists. If you feel secure, it feels calm. If you feel uncertain, it feels loaded. The silence itself does not change. The relationship does. Human behavior adapts quickly to avoid that feeling. We talk faster. We explain more than necessary. We keep noise around us like furniture. Familiar, protective, sometimes comforting, sometimes limiting. But I keep wondering if we are not avoiding silence at all. Maybe we are avoiding what silence reflects back to us when nothing else is in the way. There's a moment just before you fill the quiet. A fraction of a second. Easy to miss. That moment holds the real reaction. The body senses something undefined. An emotional trigger without a clear story yet. Just urgency. And that urgency did not come from nowhere. For many people, silence learned its meaning early. A quiet room after a mistake. A pause that signaled disappointment. A stretch of nothing that felt like disapproval. Silence became associated with evaluation, with waiting for a response that might not be kind. Over time, the body remembers. Even when life changes, the association remains. Decision-making becomes automatic. Speak, move, restore noise, reduce uncertainty. The habit forms long before awareness ever catches up. Silence itself is neutral, but our history is not. What we feel in quiet moments comes from patterns we rarely examine. Patterns that shape your life without announcing themselves. Silence is one of those quiet forces. It does not demand attention. It simply influences how you show up, how long you speak, how quickly you respond, how much space you allow yourself to take before you feel the need to justify it. There is another layer that often goes unnoticed. Silence removes performance. When no one is speaking, there is no role to play, no energy to match, no reaction to manage. And that can feel disorienting, especially in a culture built around constant output and immediate feedback. Silence asks nothing, and that absence of demand can feel heavier than expectation, because it leaves you alone with yourself. I remember sitting in a car with a friend, both of us looking ahead, saying nothing for several minutes. No music, no phones, just quiet. I felt the urge to comment on something, anything, a passing car, the traffic, the weather. Then I realized nothing was wrong. The discomfort was entirely internal. I was trying to manage a moment that did not need managing. That realization lingered longer than the silence itself. It made me question how often I confuse discomfort with danger. Psychology reveals that humans crave connection, but we often confuse connection with stimulation. Silence offers presence without activity, and without activity, the mind starts inventing meaning. It guesses instead of sensing. It fills gaps with stories, and those stories tend to lean negative, even when nothing negative is happening in reality. Here is the contradiction that surprises people when they notice it. The same silence that feels unbearable in one context feels calming in another. Late at night, early morning, sitting alone when no one expects anything from you. The silence does not change. The expectation does. The pressure softens. The quiet becomes less demanding, even gentle. When silence feels uncomfortable, it usually carries a question we did not consciously ask. Am I enough here? Am I being evaluated? Do I belong in this moment? Silence does not ask these questions. We bring them with us. Silence simply gives them room to echo, without interruption. I still notice how quickly I want to explain myself when there is a pause. As if clarity must arrive immediately. As if stillness signals failure. Catching that impulse feels strange, like noticing your own reflection move before you do. Slightly embarrassing, slightly grounding. It reminds me how automatic some reactions are, and how rarely I slow down enough to see them. Silence slows time, and when time slows, awareness sharpens. You begin to notice emotional triggers, old reflexes, small anxieties that usually stay hidden under noise. That can feel unsettling, but it can also feel honest, like seeing the outline of something that has always been there, quietly shaping how you react and decide. Maybe silence feels uncomfortable, not because it is empty, but because it is full of unfiltered awareness, full of subtle signals from within, full of the version of yourself that exists when nothing is being demanded and nothing is being performed. Most people move past this without noticing. They fill the space and keep going, and that works, until a moment arrives when silence cannot be avoided. A pause, a wait, a gap that stays longer than expected and refuses to disappear. When that moment comes, it often feels personal. But maybe it is not a problem to solve or a mistake to correct. Maybe it is simply a mirror you rarely stand in front of. Silence does not rush you. It does not judge.